Good day, my name is Louis McLaren and I'm the Group CEO of the B4 Empowerment Group. The Empowerment Group has been offering advice to businesses for close on 15 years now. And in my own right, I'm also a business owner. At the time of shooting these tutorials, business and South Africa as a whole have just moved into a level 3 in terms of the lockdown. And many businesses are facing a number of challenges at the moment, in terms of just business continuation, costs, bringing down costs, and obviously in this sense, compliance as well. And one of the compliance criteria is Black economic empowerment, and many businesses rely on their compliance status in order to qualify for business contracts and funding. And it's in that sense that we would like to assist you during this period, specifically with these tutorials. But I think before we go into the tutorials itself, it's critical for me to share with you our empowerment philosophy. BEE must be a win-win for all. If there are any losers in any measures being implemented or designed, then you need to start afresh. It needs to make business sense. If you want business to participate in economic transformation, it needs to make business sense from a strategic perspective and from a commercial perspective. If we want to bring empowerment into the fray in a proper sense, is we need to drive empowerment in a way that it will lead to real economic transformation. And in order to do that, we will have to look at innovation and collaboration. It is not possible to economically empower anyone if we look at destroying businesses or destroying industries. If we want to enable South Africa and we want to enable people, we need to understand that there's an existing skill set and an existing base that we need to work from in order to enable that. If South Africa is calling for equality, what we also need to understand that equality requires in the equation equal performance. So when we talk about empowerment, it's important to keep that in mind and to keep basic business principles in mind. So what we're going to do during this series of tutorials is we're going to take you through the various steps. We're going to take step 1, we're going to keep it simple, we're going to work through the basics. It's easy to follow, we'll work through that set, and then following that, we'll take you into the next series where we need to look at how do you integrate BEE into your business strategy and to take it to that level. I've got Roxanne with me. Roxanne will be representing you as the business owner, and I'm handing it over to you now, Roxanne.
Thank you, Louis. So my role in all of this is to represent you, South Africa, and specifically South African businesses. And as we learn about the basics of BEE through the series 1 of tutorials that we have prepared for you, we will take you through a journey on how to and where to start on BEE. But before we go into that, I've got 1 or 2 questions for you, Louis. If you can possibly just lend your expertise and help me understand what it is that I can do as business right now. So we find ourselves in a period where business needs to bring down cost. And around BEE specifically, what are the things that businesses can do right now to bring down costs? Especially if verification is on its way and the clock is ticking, what advice would you give us?
The bottom line is BEE is often viewed just from a scorecard perspective. The route that we're going to walk will address the scorecard, but it will also address how you could strategize and implement BEE in a proper way. But it always boils down to what you can present on your scorecard, because that is critical in terms of securing business contracts and funding. Some of the things that you can do to boost your scorecard when we come back later on and we start preparing information, we start submitting information, is look at what your business is doing currently in the COVID scenario. There's obviously support that you're offering to employees and to other people, or might even other businesses. Keep record of that and make sure that you can quantify it in a certain way, because some of those claims or those activities can be brought in as claims. Also bear in mind that if we look at socio-economic development as part of your scorecard, the BEE codes are very clear that up to 25% of the support can go towards non-black employees, and it will also qualify, which means that you can still get 100% recognition on your scorecard on a 75-25 split in terms of support. Even if you drop below the 75%, there's still a pro rata adjustment. A warning that I need to put forward to companies out there is that, and we get it often during this period, this is businesses would say, but my net profit figures are going to drop significantly. So if I start working out my targets for enterprise and supplier development, it's going to be low because of low net profit figures. It's based on a percentage of net profit, many of the targets. However, if you were to run into a loss during this period, which for many businesses would be highly likely, your targets will be calculated based on your turnover. And as soon as that comes into play, it could have a significant impact in terms of the size of the quantum that you need to contribute. So you need to become aware of what the impact of that could be. And then finally, what we can do immediately, what we can do today, is you can go onto the To Do Today website, and there are initiatives on the website that you can start participating immediately within. One initiative is where you can make an enterprise and supplier development contribution, and in return for that support, you will be awarded with free flight credits from Safir. For agri-businesses out there, there's an opportunity to go onto the King Price portion, where you could participate in the payment guarantee project, which will bring down your compliance costs and your fuel and diesel spend. And then finally, there's also an opportunity there to make a contribution to people that are desperately in need of food, and you can also make contributions there. And all of these contributions would qualify. All of them makes commercial sense, and it's a good start. So for the immediate, while you go through this process, I would advise starting there.
Thank you, Louis. That certainly was great information and very valuable tips on how to bring costs down immediately. But I'm sure, like myself, the viewers that are watching this are inquisitive as to, is there anything more that you can give us at this stage? Is there any golden pearls of wisdom that you can leave us with before the viewers actually go into the tutorials?
I would gladly share some of that with you. If there's one thing that always bothers me is when it comes to black economic empowerment and certain of the decisions taken around economic empowerment and economic empowerment measures and strategy development, it's almost like the logic behind these decisions are forgotten. If you want to develop a proper strategy and if you want to implement BEE in a proper way, it is critical that you follow a standard process in terms of decision making as you would normally do. The fact that you're dealing with this compliance issue doesn't mean that you just need to ignore some of these steps. So what we normally do is we would take companies through a 7-step process. And your first step is always to start asking the right questions. Now, you can only ask the right questions if you've got a better understanding of the subject matter. And that's why we want companies business owners and executives to do the Series 1, to get to understand the BEE basics so that they can start posing questions on top of that.
The right questions.
The right questions. And critical is also to get the right answers to those questions. Look at your source that you are tapping into in terms of getting to those answers and make sure that it's proper. And hopefully what we will do is through the references and through the tutorials, you will always have that other opinion that you can guide yourself with when you take in some of this advice. Now, once you've gotten yourself to a point where you've got a better understanding, you had some answers to the questions in terms of understanding what this is all about, what you then need to do is you go into the second phase. The second phase is, based on this, you start gathering information, you start processing information, and then you move to the next stop or phase where you say, but okay, if this is the underlying information specific to my business, what are the specific options that would be available for your business specifically?
Scenarios.
And you need to look at all of those, and then, because there's always more than one. There's no one rule for everyone or one specific solution. You need to look at all of the options and then weigh those options in the next step. And then once you've weighed those options, choose the option in terms of implementation that makes the best sense for your business. But please, when you get to that point, is consider that in the context, does it make commercial sense? It couldn't be any option in any way that could lead to a fronting risk, because a fronting risk could be detrimental to your business. And you just ask the question is whether it makes sense in terms of economic empowerment. We often get asked the question, when is a measure, when does it carry the risk of fronting and when not? In other words, where's that fine line between the two of those? And the answer is quite simple. You would know. You would know when you're dealing with a fronting practice or whether you're trying to enable. It sits there. You don't need a piece of legislation to tell you that. And then once you've made your selection and you've made your choices in terms of the options, then you need to take action on that and implement in a proper way. Set up your implementation plan, set up your reporting plan, because as part of the 7-step process, the final step is always to keep on evaluating and reviewing and on an ongoing basis, look at your implementation plan and your strategy to ensure that it's meeting your business objectives and the objectives in terms of empowerment, and of course, at the end of the day, the resultant score on your scorecard.
Thank you, Louis. That was certainly insightful and a lot of value that you've added there for us. We invite our viewers to join us on a journey. We have got 14 5 to 10 minute tutorials waiting for you. And we want to walk a road with you in helping you understand the basics of BEE, as well as following with a series 2 and so on. And I'd like to end off by asking Louis, do you have any last words that you'd like to say?
If you create a system and the purpose of the system is a scorecard, you must always remember that a system will always deliver on the purpose for which it was created for. We need to start looking at creating a system that will deliver on economic empowerment, not on scorecards. We understand that the scorecard is needed, but we need to move towards economic empowerment. And economic empowerment refers to the economy as well. And this is what we're going to show you and teach you what to do, is how to build something that's sustainable and that can last and that can be a benefit to your business.